Okay, so let's take a look at the biblical figure known as Adam in Jewish, Christian, and Catholic mythology. Adam. Adam is a figure in the book of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible, and in the Quran and Christian belief. According to the creation myth of the Abrahamic religions, he was the first man. In both Genesis and Quran, Adam and his wife were expelled from the Garden of Eden for eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Various forms of creationism and biblical literalism consider Adam to be a historical person. Scientific evidence does not support the idea that the entire human population descends from a single man. The word Adam is also used in the Bible as a pronoun, individually as a human and in a collective sense as mankind. Biblical Adam, man, mankind, is created from Adamah, earth, and Genesis 1-8 makes considerable play of the bond between them, for Adam is estranged from the earth through his disobedience. Origin. The majority view among scholars is that the book of Genesis dates from the Persian period, the 5th and 4th centuries BCE, but the absence from the rest of the Hebrew Bible of all the other characters and incidents mentioned in chapters 1-11 of Genesis. Adam appears only in chapters 1-5, with the exception of a mention at the beginning of the books of Chronicles where, as in Genesis, he heads the list of Israel's ancestors, has led a sizable minority to the conclusion that Genesis 1-11 was composed much later, possibly in the 3rd century BCE. Usage. Mankind human being male individual. The Bible uses the word Adam, in all of its senses, collectively, mankind, Genesis 1:27, individually, a man, Genesis 2:7, gender nonspecific, man and woman, Genesis 5:1-2, and male, Genesis 2:23 and 24. In Genesis 1:27 Adam is used in the collective sense, and the interplay between the individual Adam and the collective humankind is a main literary component to the events that occur in the Garden of Eden, the ambiguous meanings embedded throughout the moral, sexual, and spiritual terms of the narrative reflecting the complexity of the human condition. Genesis 2:7 is the first verse where Adam takes on the sense of an individual man, the first man, and the context of sex is absent. The gender distinction of Adam is then reiterated in Genesis 5:1-2 by defining male and female. Connection to the earth. A recurring literary motif is the bond between Adam and the earth. God creates Adam by molding him out of clay in the final stages of the creation narrative. After the loss of innocence, God curses Adam and the earth as punishment for his disobedience. Adam and humanity are cursed to die and return to the earth, or ground, from which he was formed. This earthly aspect is a component of Adam's identity, and Adam's curse of estrangement from the earth seems to describe humankind's divided nature of being earthly yet separated from nature. God himself, who took of the dust from all four corners of the earth with each color, red, black, white, and green, then created Adam therewith, where the soul of Adam is the image of God. In the Hebrew Bible, Genesis 1 tells of God's creation of the world and its creatures, with humankind as the last of his creatures. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam. God blesses mankind, commands them to be fruitful and multiply, and gives them dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Genesis 1:26-27. In Genesis 2, God forms Adam, this time meaning a single male human, out of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Genesis 2:7. God then places this first man in the Garden of Eden, telling him that, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Genesis 2:16-17. God notes that it is not good that the man should be alone. Genesis 2:18, and brings the animals to Adam, who gives them their names. But among all the animals there was not found a companion for him. Genesis 2:20. God causes a deep sleep to fall upon Adam and forms a woman. Genesis 2:21-22, and Adam awakes and greets her as his helpmate. Genesis 3, the story of the fall. A serpent persuades the woman to disobey God's command and eat of the tree of knowledge, which gives wisdom. Woman convinces Adam to do likewise, whereupon they become conscious of their nakedness, cover themselves, and hide from the sight of God. God questions Adam, who blames the woman. God passes judgment, first upon the serpent, condemned to go on his belly, then the woman, condemned to pain in childbirth and subordination to her husband, and finally Adam, who is condemned to labor on the earth for his food and to return to it on his death. God then expels the man and woman from the garden, lest they eat of the tree of life and become immortal. The chiastic structure of the death oracle given to Adam in Genesis 3:19 forms a link between man's creation from dust, Genesis 2:7, to the return of his beginnings. A. You return. B. To the ground. C. Since from it you were taken. C. For dust you are. B. Into dust. A. You will return. Genesis 4 deals with the birth of Adam's sons Cain and Abel and the story of the first murder, followed by the birth of a third son, Seth. Genesis 5, the book of the generations of Adam, lists the descendants of Adam from Seth to Noah with their ages at the birth of their first sons, except Adam himself, for whom his age at the birth of Seth, his third son, is given, and their ages at death. Adam lives 930 years. The chapter notes that Adam had other sons and daughters after Seth, but does not name them. Now, keeping in mind other mythologies and theor traditions, and might I add as a thought, some of these mythologies are written in stone and older than the papyrus scrolls that we have today. Written by several authors. Instead of what they tell you as in Moses wrote it, and put together through the documentary hypothesis. For those not aware of the documentary hypothesis, please look at link under video. So now let's look at Adam and pre-biblical Jewish traditions. Body. According to Jewish literature, Adam possessed a body of light, identical to the light created by God on the first day. According to Jewish mystical tradition, the original glory of Adam can be regained through mystical contemplation of God. Adam, Lilith, and Eve. The rabbis, puzzled by the verse of Genesis 1 which states that God created man and woman together, told that when God created Adam he also created a woman from the dust, as he had created Adam, and named her Lilith, but the two could not agree. For Adam wanted Lilith to lie under him, and Lilith insisted that Adam should lie under her, and so she fled from him, and Eve was created from Adam's rib. Her story was greatly developed, during the Middle Ages, in the tradition of Aggadic Midrashim, the Zohar and Jewish mysticism. Other rabbis explained the same verse as meaning that Adam was created with two faces, male and female, or as a single hermaphrodite being, male and female joined back to back, but God saw that this made walking and conversing difficult, and so split them apart. Eve's fault in the fall. The serpent approached Eve rather than Adam because Adam had heard the word of God with his own ears, whereas Eve had only his report. Eve tasted the fruit and knew at once that she was doomed to death, and said to herself that it was better she trick Adam into eating so that he too would die, and not take another woman in her place. Adam ate the fruit unaware of what he was doing, and was filled with grief. When Adam blamed Eve after eating the forbidden fruit, God rebuked him that Adam as a man should not have obeyed his wife, for he is the head, not her. Adam and the winter solstice. An Aggadic legend found in Tractate Avodah Zarah 8 contains observations regarding the Roman midwinter holidays and the Talmudic hypothesis that Adam the first established the tradition of fasting before the winter solstice, and rejoicing afterward, which festival later devolved into the Roman Saturnalia and Calenda. Children of Adam and Eve. Adam withdrew from Eve for 130 years after their expulsion from Eden, and in this time both he and Eve had sex with demons, until at length they reunited and Eve gave birth to Seth. A 2nd century BCE Jewish religious work, the Book of Jubilees, tells how Adam had a daughter, Awasent, born after Cain and Abel, and post-biblical Jewish traditions. Children of Adam and Eve. Another daughter, Azarasent, born after Seth, and they had 9 other sons. Cain married Awasent and Seth married Azarasent, thus accounting for their descendants. The life of Adam and Eve and its Greek version, the Apocalypse of Moses, recount how Adam repented his sin in exile and was rewarded by being transported to the heavenly paradise, foreshadowing the destiny of all the righteous at the end of time. Adam's death and burial. The archangel Michael attended Adam's death, together with Eve and his son Seth, still living at that time, and he was buried together with his murdered son Abel. Because they repented, God gave Adam and Eve garments of light, and similar garments will clothe the Messiah when he comes. According to the Apocalypse of Moses, which probably originates in 1st century CE Jewish literature, the altar of the Temple of Solomon was the center of the world and the gateway to God's Garden of Eden, and it was here that Adam was both created and buried. Attitude towards Adam. In the 17th century book Kav HaYashar, the author warns not to talk negatively about Adam, and writes that those who talk positively about Adam will be blessed with a long life. A similar warning can be found in the Zohar. Adam and the Angel Raziel. The Sefer Raziel HaMalach, Raziel the Angel, is a collection of esoteric writings, probably compiled and edited by the same hand, but originally not the work of one author, which according to tradition was revealed to Adam by the angel Raziel. The book cannot be shown to predate the 13th century, but may in parts date back to late antiquity, and like other obscure ancient texts such as the Buyur and Sefer Yetzirah, it has been extant in a number of versions. Zunes, G.V. 2d ed. p. 176, distinguishes three main parts: 1. The Book HaMalbush, 2. The Great Raziel, 3. The Book of Secrets, or the Book of Noah. These three parts are still distinguishable: 2b7a, 7b33b, 34a and b. After these follow two shorter parts entitled Creation and Shiur a superscript 2 Oma, and after 41a come formulas for amulets and incantations. This is just some of the history that we find when researching the biblical figure of the first man, Adam, and as we go we will be analyzing biblical and non-biblical writings, and looking at other mythologies and comparing them to archaeological evidence, and hear also what other scholars in the field of Assyriology, Egyptology, and the Near Eastern religions, what they did, and how it is so different than what we see in today's world. Questions to ask yourself: is there a God? Is there gods and goddesses? Was there really giants in past times? And if so, why is the evidence hidden from us? Why all the secrets on the past? In my research I have found since long ago that they lead us down a certain path. That many get there from many ways. Kind of like the old saying, all roads lead to Rome. Well, look at it this way, all roads lead back to control. I know what do you mean by control. All religion was created for control, power, indoctrination. In my research this goes way deeper, but it requires for you to put away the cognitive dissonance and unlearn everything that you've been taught. And by now, knowing that you have been lied to your whole life, this should be an easy task. So stay tuned as we dig deeper into the ancient religions and disprove the indoctrination of what we've been taught. Stay blessed, for now I am out.